That's good. Most of you know that this is my last year at Unity, in full-time capacity anyway. The other night as I was looking through the 1976 yearbook, my wife asked me what I was doing, and I told her I was getting information to write my memoirs. Well, not exactly true. But I was gleaning some thoughts about memories that I've had from working here at Unity for the last 35 years. So today, I want to share, not my memoir, but some of those most powerful memories and the thing I learned from them. I remember Slave Day. What a fun and exciting day for the seniors, juniors, and sophomores. It was a day of initiation for the freshmen, and boy were they initiated. Every freshman was assigned a senior master. Many masters were very benevolent and kind and dressed up their slave in a costume, a soldier, a little puppy. Some masters were more cruel and dressed them up as an insect, something to be stepped on, or as a turd, something to be flushed on the stool. Then, after a day of carrying books for the master, washing their car, or some other task, they had to face the jury of senior boys and succumb to something annoying and embarrassing, like eating a raw egg or worse. I remember the worst year I observed the proceedings. We were all sitting on the hill to the north of school, and soon the jury arrived. 10 senior boys riding on motorcycles with their chains on their laps, and followed by the hearse they called the Deathmobile. The Deathmobile rolled to a gentle stop near the table that was set up for the judge and jury. The casket was removed from the hearse, and the pallbearers opened the lid, and the robed judge was led to his perch behind the table. When the gavel fell, all jurors, masters, and slaves, and other witnesses sat on the grassy knoll, readying themselves to enjoy the impending judgment, followed by the punishment for being a freshman. One by one, or sometimes 2 by 2, they came to drink chocolate from a Hershey's chocolate can, lick whipped cream off someone's face, or carry a raw egg under their chin while running 25 yards, or riding a bike with a blindfold, or lying under a ladder while someone tries to pour orange juice in their mouth from the top of the ladder. These were just a few of the consequences of being a freshman on that day. But then I remembered the visit. Someone reported that at Unity, their Slave Day, malicious and mean activities that the school tolerated is reported to the social services. One morning, while I was doing paperwork in my office, the principal appeared and said, "There's someone here to see us." I was the guidance counselor at the time, so the principal and I went to the office. The individual from the social service office was a lady, about twice my size. Her very presence, I remember, scared me. She proceeded to tell us that a parent at Unity had reported abuse that had been tolerated by the school. She went on to explain that she was ready to go to the papers, the Democrat, the Sioux Center News, the Sioux City Journal, if we chose not to cooperate. Her command: abolish Slave Day. The principal and I looked at each other, not knowing what to say. Seniors who had waited 3 years to retaliate on freshmen, ever since they were freshmen, would be furious. Needless to say, we had no choice. I don't remember all the details, but I do remember all the students in the gym were meeting, and it was quiet. There was word out that something was going to be changed. And as the principal spoke the news, he said there will be change or else. There was disappointment at first, but most understood that the school's back was against the wall. Probably the thing that does surprise me most to this day is that I, along with the rest of the faculty, tolerated this humiliating event so long, from 1970 to 1989. I'm sure things escalated over the years, and I guess we get caught up in the fun of it. But today, bullying rules and laws would probably land some of us in the courts, or maybe even worse. So what was born from this? Senior Adopt a Student, or what we now call Senior Freshman Breakfast, which is still alive and well today. The lesson I learned: why not encourage, build up, rather than initiate and humiliate? Seems like the biblical thing to do. I remember Pam. Pam was a beautiful young lady. She was talented and athletic. She loved horses and rode them frequently. I remember the night I got the call and was informed that Pam was riding a horse, and the horse reared up and flipped over on top of Pam. Pam was taken to the hospital in Sioux City, where I first had a chance to visit her. When I went in to see her the first time since the accident, I knew the doctor's prognosis was not good. Pam had severed the spinal cord and would be paralyzed from the waist down. When I walked into the hospital room, she was in a striker. A striker is like a barrel made of just rings. She was suspended in the middle of the rings so that they could spin the striker to position her face down, face up, to the side every 15 minutes. She was in face down position when I arrived, and I was told to lie on the floor and look up. She said, "Thanks for coming, Mr. Kooiman. I'm going to walk again." I don't remember my response, but I'll never forget. I'm going to walk again. I love the hope she expressed. That attitude still motivates me today. After several weeks in the hospital, Pam went to Denver for rehabilitation. It's a place that's still being used today for many spinal cord injuries. In her senior year, after a period of months, Pam came to school in a wheelchair. In her senior year, she was crowned Lady at homecoming. She then went on to receive training to become a TV news reporter, and eventually was a news anchor in Denver, Colorado. When she got married, she did walk down the aisle with special crutches and a little help. And as she put it, a very painful walk to the altar. Pam passed away several years ago, but my vivid memory of the hospital statement has never left me. I will walk again. I believe she walked with a wheelchair, never complaining, always smiling, always encouraging, and now she walks, maybe even flies, if that's what angels do in heaven, because I believe that's where she is now. Lesson: never quit, regardless of how difficult things get. Or as Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I remember when football started at Unity. I'd been the AD for only a few years when the state of Iowa decided to drop the fall soccer tournament. This was a devastating decision, as we had just won